So all I really want to know is, like, this is your opportunity to say whatever you want to. And the way that I'm setting it up is there will be 45 minutes of presentation by the thought leader, you, and then 45 minutes of roundtable, or how you want to. I don't want this to just be a TED talk where people
Right.
just listen and then they go to the next one and listen. I want that to be something where there is engagement, and I got to turn that off too because I have a little notifications that are coming on. So something that takes it to real, real life for them. So I kind of have been telling people that you're somebody who knew Napoleon Hill's assistant, so that there's a real connection with Think and Grow Rich. And your story, I've done an interview with you on my podcast. So if people have listened to that, they kind of know you. So what would it be that you want to talk about, and what would we name it? That's kind of what I want to talk about.
Okay. Are you going to use this? Are you going to cut this clip up and then put it in something or other, or put it out, or whatever it is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So do you want to ask me a question, or
yeah,
how do you want to do that?
Well, so before I even ask you a question, when you do presentations or talks, do they have names? Like, do people name it?
Yeah.
Something?
Yeah, I usually make up some kind of name, or they make up something, like off the top of my head. Trying to think of something that one of the many that I've done.
I know. Well,
thoughts are things.
Yeah. Okay.
Thoughts become reality.
Yeah. So something like ideas about
let your thoughts become. Let your the old thing. Let your imagination be. Let your imagination be a preview of coming attraction. I can say something like, let your thoughts determine, or let your thoughts be a preview of coming attraction.
Well, I think we have to make it really short. So you can talk about that, but the title would be something like Thoughts Are Things.
Right. Yeah. Thoughts are real things. Let's get the real in there. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
We'll just use that.
Thoughts are real things. Okay.
Yeah. And you can make the real in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
I've got that because I looked at your sign behind.
I know. Okay. I'm just writing a note here. Thoughts are real things.
Yeah.
Thought leader, James Spooner, and then I'll get a bio from your website. I also need a better picture of you.
Okay.
I know. I've looked everywhere to find a good picture of you, and the only one is the plane, but you're so far away that when we blow it up, it gets kind of jagged.
I'll look through and see what I got.
Okay.
I have a lot of it, but anyhow, we'll come up with something for you.
Okay. So I'll just we'll just talk here for a second. So James, I'm so excited to have you join us in Fargo for our Chill Out event, our hopefully first annual Chill Out event. And I'm really excited. I've known you for quite a while, and actually we've never met in person. So
I know it, it's long distance relationship. Oh my goodness.
It kind of is. It's the beauty of Zoom, and also the anticipation of actually meeting in person. That's really fun. So when you come to Fargo, you're going to talk about how thoughts are real things. Can you give us a little preview of what that might sound like, look like?
Yeah, just a little bit of a snippet. One of the things that people don't really realize is that every single thought that they have is real. And it's not only real, but we'll call it a preview of a coming attraction. For example, if somebody has a thought that they want to go from point A to point B, they've already gone to point B in their mind, because otherwise they would never get there. They'd be driving around in circles. So, there's a lot of little twists and turns as to understanding what thoughts are, how they're actually processed in the mind, and how they turn into reality. How does something as simple as thought energy, which is nothing more than a vibration, actually take form? So that's going to be really most of the content that we're going to talk about. And then it's a matter of not only understanding it, but then how to better put it to use. And, so that, just an occasional wish and so forth, if it's something that you come up with that's just a wish, and then it gets a little bit more energy put into it, a destination or something tangible that you want, or a condition that you want, how do you format that? How do you repeat that? How do you transfer that over to the subconscious mind? How do you work it? Basically, you're taking something that's thought energy, as I say, and make it into a malleable form so that it takes on the form that you want and it actually comes to fruition. That's really what we're going to talk about. It's a lot of fun, but it's not only fun, but it's actually the way and who we really are.
That's awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. Anyway, I already know it. I talk to you every week, but it's really fun to hear how you actually have lived this way most of your life without maybe even realizing it early on.
Yeah, and it's funny. I just had a conversation with somebody this morning, and it was interesting because he, out of the blue, and I know this person, but I met with him, but I haven't seen him for 2 years, as a matter of fact. So we got together and he said, all that stuff that and I've worked with him as far as coaching and all that. And he said to me, I actually started to think, he said, everything that I've actually ever wanted, he's in the real estate business, but everything materialistic that I wanted, family, house, cars, money, whatever, opportunities, it's all come to fruition. He said, just like you said, sometimes it doesn't come in the time frame that I wanted it to come in, which is what he was saying. And I said, well, that's understandable because the way that the universe works, so to speak, or the way that things work is that sometimes other things have to happen before the thing that you want to have happen. It's a series of events, but as long as somebody stays persistent, persistence is one of Napoleon Hill's principles, number 8, as a matter of fact. But as long as somebody believes that once they've been able to see it, this is where Napoleon Hill gets us whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. Once you've been able to conceive it, meaning you've projected it's an image on your mind, on the screen of your mind, then you own it. Now, whether you give up on it or not is entirely up to you. Life is a lot of choices. But what we really got here is a situation, but if you see it, it's already happened. It's just a matter of bringing it in the future into the present so that you can experience it. That's all you're going to do. So this stuff works. It's like magic, to be honest. It's not magic, but and everybody that's on the planet has the ability to be able to do it, regardless of their circumstances.
So if you heard anything in that little snippet that is intriguing to you, as I would think everybody would, you're going to want to hear James, and not only hear what James has to say from his experience and from his knowledge and wisdom working with the Napoleon Hill Foundation, but also from his personal experience and the way he's actually had this happen for him. James, you've worked with a lot of other people, real estate agents mostly, but people who are trying to achieve things in their own lives. And I'm betting that having worked with you, you were just mentioned the guy who said it's just everything I wanted has happened. Do you see that happen a lot with people you kind of coach?
Yeah, actually I do, as a matter of and it's, I'm not going to necessarily pat myself on the back, although maybe I will a little bit, but it's a way you have to have the raw material, Jody, and the raw material is the person who is receptive to this. Okay. If somehow or other they're not receptive to it or they're not going to practice it, it's like learning how to play the piano. Okay. So my experience has been is that when I qualify somebody and find out how interested they are and then do my absolute best at keeping their interest up. And of course, fortunately, the subject matter makes it easy because right away, everybody can create a parking place. I go back to the old thing that they talk about in The Secret and all the rest of the stuff. You create a parking place out of thin air. Well, once I get somebody to do that and they do it with some degree of consistency, then the end result is they start to drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak, and they get excited about it because they say, what's next? So in answer to your question, yeah. Sometimes, but it's a matter of the person's belief level in whether this stuff is going to work. And if you've got a real believer, they're the ones that succeed. If somebody gets to them and says, this is a bunch of nonsense and so forth, and they basically have an interference pattern that got in and they actually believe that, then, you get marginal or even in some cases, no results. The only people that really fail at this, to be honest with you, are the people who enjoy being in misery.
Yeah, and that's kind of a tough pill to swallow, isn't it, for everybody who might be listening? I mean, if you're seeing any resemblance to your own life in that? It's familiar. I don't think it's comfortable anymore, but it's become familiar for people to be in that, vibrational energy that's low, and that's where dis-ease happens, and that's where things can sneak in that are way less than what we deserve, what we could manifest, what we actually are worthy of creating and attracting to ourselves. So I like that you said that it's available to everyone who's open to the possibility of learning something.
Yeah, I make the analogies a lot of times to, if, and everybody's known somebody who's a hypochondriac, okay? And a hypochondriac, everybody realizes what the condition is, and it's a mental condition, okay? They have imaginary diseases, which eventually turn into real diseases because they keep repeating it. But, many times when you come across somebody like that, if you took their imaginary disease away, in other words, if you ask them how they are, they're going to start telling you all about their aches and pains or operations or whatever it might have been. What ends up happening is that if you took that away, you basically have taken their self-image away, because the only person that they are is the conditions that they either imagine or that have been in the past. And of course, I'm a future thinker. I like to look at, let your imagination be a preview of coming attractions routine. And it's important that people understand that their self-image is something that they can create. And if they want it to be positive, you have to create a positive one. If you want to get stuck in the past or in your imaginary things and lose your identity, a lot of people aren't willing to give up their identity. So like you said, it's just a matter of, maybe everybody that's listening maybe should do a little soul searching. Find out who they are, because you can be anybody that you want to be.
Such
so
great
you
advice.
know what it is that you want to be, or want to have, or want to do.
Perfect. So that's a preview of coming attractions, everyone. And if you're interested in hearing more, please sign up for our Chill Out retreat happening January 19th to the 21st, right here in Fargo, North Dakota. Thanks, James. I look forward to seeing you there.
I will be there with my coat.
You might need it. I'll have to say.
I'll bring one along.
Okay.
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much. It'll be fun.
Thanks, James. Oops. Stop. Okay.